Hi everyone, it's me Gaming Do, and today we are doing something drastically different for my channel in general. Because usually when I cover TV shows, it's animated TV shows, but today I want to cover two very similar sitcoms, basically made by the same people, Family Matters and Full House, as this is going to be round 3 of this versus that, where I put them together to see which show is better overall. So, we'll be going with 5 categories to see which one is the best. I hope you enjoy the different style, that this is not animation, and instead we're talking about two sitcoms. I almost thought of putting Boy Meets World against Full House, but there's no comparing any sitcom in history to Boy Meets World, in my opinion. Boy Meets World is my favorite TV show of all time, period. These are probably in my top 10, but on the lower end of top 10, like probably the number 8 or 9 spot. But anyways, let's get on into it. Full House versus Family Matters. Okay, so first off, let's talk about the comedy. Full House, in general, is a very funny show, in my opinion. I especially like the sort of sarcastic, snarky moments in the show, with one of my personal favorite moments being when Stephanie's friend Gia comes for the first day of school, and then she's like, "Hi, little Michelle, are you ready for your first day of 3rd grade?" And then Michelle comes back with, "Are you ready for your 3rd year of 7th grade?" That's freaking awesome. And then pretty much every character in this show is freaking hilarious. You've got both Danny and Stephanie, who hate Kimmy Gibbler, and their lines of her to go away are hilarious. You got Joey Gladstone, who is literally a comedian, and he makes me laugh, but my opinion, I think the funniest character in the show is Uncle Jesse. Uncle Jesse is hilarious. My favorite moment is in the episode where they first get Comet. Michelle picks out the puppy she wants, and that's the one that slept in his bed. And he's like, "You mean you want the one that sleeps in my bed?" That's just perfect example of his comedy. Now on to Family Matters. Family Matters, in my opinion, is run by two characters in its comedy. Steve Urkel and Carl Winslow, who I both think are hilarious, but, well, the rest of the characters can have a funny line here or there. Steve and Carl, in my opinion, carry the show for comedy. I'd honestly say, in my personal opinion, Carl Winslow is funnier than Steve Urkel. Urkel's funny, but Carl sort of has that snarkiness that the Full House characters have, and that's a really good thing in my opinion. So, overall, I just think the comedy in Full House is better because all the characters are funny. Not just two of the characters like in Family Matters. It's not like the other characters never have funny moments. I'd say the third funniest character on Family Matters is the grandmother. She's pretty funny too. But I am overall probably gonna have to give the win. No, most definitely round 1 for comedy goes to Full House. Full House, just every single character in this show is funny. Well, consistently funny. Carl Winslow and Steve Urkel are hilarious, but the rest of them, while they have a funny moment here and there, it's not as much as Full House. So round one goes to Full House. Okay, this category was a little bit harder because both of these shows have some pretty dramatic moments. Let's first start. We started with Full House in the first round. For the second round, why don't we start with Family Matters? Family Matters can get very serious, especially in the episodes where they had the gun violence problem and somebody got shot. I don't really want to talk about that because I'm afraid I'll get flagged on YouTube or something like that. But that's what the episode was about, so it's true. There was the gun violence episode, the episode about Harriet and Rachel's father. You got the episode where basically Steve pours his heart out to Laura and admits why he basically never gives up trying to win her over. And that was one of the episodes of like season 2, so that was very early on in the show. As for Full House, you got moments like the very first episode where the girls are finding it hard because they miss their mother. You got episodes like the episode where Joey tries to take Stephanie to a sleepover, which is supposed to be a mother-daughter sleepover, but she gets really emotional about that. But who could forget? Probably the saddest thing in either of these shows, Papuli's death. That episode really hit my heart, man, especially because I had a grandparent who died this year, so it hit me extra hard when I watched that. So, as much as Family Matters has dramatic moments, Full House's moments just hit harder. So, overall, again, Full House is going to win the drama round. Okay, for round 3, we're going to be comparing the main characters. Actually, for both of these shows, it's kind of subjective who the main character is. A lot of people would say it's either Danny Tanner or Carl Winslow instead of these two, but to me, these two characters get the most focus on the show, so that's who I personally think are the main characters. We are going to be comparing Michelle Tanner to Steve Urkel. And we'll start with Michelle first. Michelle is a pretty great character. She's funny. She's got a lot of good lines like "you got it, dude." And her duh moments are pretty funny too. But her knock is that she's not my absolute favorite character on the show. In fact, I'd say she's honestly on the lower end because in a couple instances, she kind of feels like a little bit of a spoiled brat. Especially in the episode where she dresses up in that biker gear to rebel against Danny. That's a little bit annoying to watch. Steve Urkel, on the other hand, some people may be annoyed by him, but he personally doesn't annoy me at all. I find him hilarious, and his quotes of, "Did I do that?" are iconic at this point. And he's also a really good kid. Steve Urkel doesn't have the best parents, but it still shows that he's a good person and a good kid. It's not like Michelle's not a good person, but she's a fair bit younger than Steve, so she probably hasn't learned as much, and due to that, I am going to have to say, the winner for this round is Family Matters. Steve Urkel is just a better character than Michelle Tanner, in my opinion, because not only is he funny, but he's good-natured and has a good heart. So, he wins round 3. Those two were the absolute main characters of the show, but in terms of these two shows, I think they have like a bunch of main characters, so let's go over the other ones. We'll start with Family Matters this time. You got Carl Winslow, who is the father of the Winslow family. He's probably, as much as I like Steve Urkel, he's probably my favorite character on the show, but admittedly, after like season 2, he sort of gets overshined by Steve Urkel. So, um, yeah, I know I said I almost never get annoyed by Steve Urkel, but I do feel like he's a little bit overshining the rest of the cast. And Carl Winslow is my personal favorite character on Family Matters. Then you got Harriet Winslow, who has some funny lines, but not on the level of Carl or Steve. Same with Laura, their daughter. And then you got their son Eddie, who is a bit rebellious at times, but is overall a good kid. And then you got other characters like Rachel, Harriet's sister, and Myra, who is Steve's girlfriend for a little while. And overall, it's a pretty good cast. Then we'll talk about Full House. You got Michelle's other sisters. You got her middle sister, Stephanie, who is personally one of my top 2 favorite characters on the show. She is just so well developed and is probably even more rebellious than Michelle, but it seems like in less of a spoiled brat way and more of a trying to be her own person way. And her lines against Kimmy Gibbler are freaking hilarious. The other one who I think is in the top 2 is Uncle Jesse. He's my favorite of the adult characters. He just generally has constant, good, funny lines. Like I said, especially the dog in the bed joke. That was hilarious. And then there was an episode where a chimp came into the house and he told the chimp to go see Michael Jackson. That was funny too, referencing the fact that Michael Jackson had a chimp at one point. And you got the other characters like Aunt Becky, who owes the college lots of money. No, I'm just kidding. She's a pretty good character. DJ, the oldest kid, is a very good kid. Probably the best behaved out of all the kids. You got Uncle Joey, who is the comedian character, even though he's not as funny as Stephanie or Uncle Jesse, in my opinion. So, overall, I do enjoy the casts of both shows, but just, Full House wins because I genuinely get more attached to the characters of this show. This is both a great moment of both of my favorite characters on the show together. This is when, Stephanie's classmate was getting beat up by his father, and then she told Uncle Jesse, and Uncle Jesse decided to do the right thing and call Child Protective Services, and he's in a foster home now, probably on his way to having a better life. And this is one of my favorite episodes of the show because it showcases that it's kind of hard to do the right thing, but you gotta know that eventually you have to do the right thing. So, yeah. Just all the character dynamics are better, in my opinion, on Full House, and yeah, Full House is gonna win round 4. Alright, and for the last round, round 5, we're going to be talking about the family dynamic of each show, which I think are probably two of the biggest positives of the show. Both the family members in both shows are probably equally as close. They all have very special relationships and family matters. You got, I see it mainly being Carl and Eddie and Rachel and Little Richie and others like that. On Full House, pretty much everyone gets along. You got Uncle Jesse and Michelle, who are really close. You got DJ and Danny, and pretty much Danny and all three of his daughters. But I see a special relationship between Danny and DJ, especially. And all three of the sisters get along with each other especially well, too. You got DJ and Steph, who are really close. My favorite moment is when, what was it? It was when, I think I already mentioned this in the video, but it was when Stephanie came home with Uncle Joey from the little, what was supposed to be a mother-daughter sleepover, and then DJ basically consoled her, showing their close relationship. And then there's the episode where Stephanie makes Michelle sort of feel left out, and that's the same episode I mentioned before. So I mentioned two of the same episodes before. That's the episode where Michelle becomes rebellious and becomes a biker, basically. Yeah, that lasts real quick. But overall, I do think actually round 5 is going to be a tie. I know I may have mentioned Full House a little more, but I've watched Full House probably a little more, so that's why I mentioned it a little more. But I think what these two shows do about equally is the family dynamic. And yeah, so round 5 is going to be a tie. With a score of 4-2, Full House wins the contest. Everything I think Family Matters does, Full House does a little bit better. I do agree that the main character is a little bit better in Family Matters, but the rest of the main cast is better in Full House. I think the comedy is better in Full House. I think all the dramatic moments are better in Full House. And overall, I think the family dynamic is about equal, but just with all the wins, Full House wins the contest. Now, I know what you're saying. Didn't you say Boy Meets World was your favorite sitcom of all time? Yes, it is. But you can't really compare that to these two shows, because that show isn't really about family dynamics. Rather, it's about a boy growing up in Philadelphia, basically. But to make up for that, since I want to sort of get into both reviewing live action and cartoons, sometime next month, I'm going to be doing a top 10 Boy Meets World episodes. I'm not sure when in September, probably after my birthday, but that'll be coming soon. So, due to just a few more likable characters, better comedy, better drama, and basically an equal family dynamic, Full House is going to win the contest. And that's about it, guys. I hope you guys like this video. This is probably going to be the last video of the week before Thursday or Friday, which is the next video I'm going to do, which should be my next tier list. And I hope you guys are looking forward to that. And that's about it. Gaming Dude here. See you later. Bye.